If you struggle with discipline, here's the truth no one tells you. Motivation is not the problem. In fact, motivation is a trap. It comes and goes, and your brain knows it. Real discipline doesn't come from pushing harder. It comes from rewiring how your brain sees you. In this video, I'll show you how to rewire your brain so discipline becomes automatic, without willpower, without hype, without forcing yourself. I'll break it down into 4 simple steps that work together to change your identity at the brain level. When this clicks, your brain will stop resisting discipline and start craving it. Why your brain fights discipline? Every time you try to be disciplined, there's an invisible conflict happening inside your brain. It's not laziness. It's identity protection. Your brain's primary job is to keep your behavior consistent with who you believe you are. That means it doesn't care about your goals. It cares about your self-image. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with discipline, any disciplined action creates internal friction. Waking up early, exercising, focusing, these actions threaten your current identity. And your brain treats identity threats like danger. So it pushes back. That resistance you feel isn't random. I don't feel like it. Is your brain defending the version of you it already knows? Acting disciplined while believing you're undisciplined creates tension, and your brain resolves that tension by shutting down effort. This is why forcing discipline feels exhausting. You're fighting your own operating system. Most people try to fix this by adding motivation, hacks, or pressure. But none of that addresses the real problem. As long as your identity stays the same, your brain will continue to resist change. The solution isn't doing more. It's becoming someone different. When you change your identity, your brain no longer needs to fight you. It starts working with you instead of against you. The same system that once created resistance begins creating alignment. Discipline stops feeling unnatural because it no longer contradicts who you think you are. Change the identity, and the brain follows automatically. This framework works by targeting your brain's identity system directly. It isn't 4 separate tricks. It's one connected process. Each step builds on the last, sending your brain consistent signals about who you are becoming. When they work together, discipline stops requiring effort and starts happening automatically. Step 1. Rewire your identity. Your brain doesn't respond to goals the way most people believe it does. Goals tell your brain what you want to do. Identity tells your brain who you are. And your brain will always prioritize being over doing, because identity is tied to safety, predictability, and survival. You can set goals all day long, but if those goals conflict with your current identity, your brain will quietly resist them. That resistance shows up as procrastination, excuses, or fatigue. This is why goal setting alone almost never creates lasting discipline. You're asking your brain to act like someone you don't yet believe you are. Real rewiring starts with choosing one identity to install. Not 10 identities. Not a long list. One clear identity. It must be written in the present tense, because your brain does not operate in the future. Say, I'm becoming someone who trains, not, I want to work out. That difference matters more than motivation ever will. The identity must be specific and behavioral. I'm disciplined is vague and abstract. Your brain can't organize around it. I'm someone who trains daily. Gives your brain something concrete to track and defend. This single sentence sends a signal directly to your brain's identity center, telling it what patterns to look for. Once that signal is received, your brain begins adjusting automatically. It starts forming neural pathways that support this identity. It becomes more sensitive to behaviors that confirm it and more aware of actions that contradict it. Without you realizing it, your brain starts preparing to protect this version of you. At this stage, nothing dramatic changes on the O. Your behavior may look the same, but internally, the target has shifted. You're no longer chasing discipline. You're defining who you are. This is the foundation everything else depends on. Without identity, discipline feels forced. With identity, every action has meaning. Your brain now knows exactly who it is becoming. This shift may feel subtle, but it changes how every future decision feels. Discipline stops being a fight and starts feeling natural, aligned, and internally supported by your own brain's wiring. Step 2. Give your brain immediate proof. Your brain doesn't trust future promises, and it has a good reason not to. Every time you said you'd start tomorrow and didn't, you trained your brain to doubt you. Planning feels productive, but to your brain, it's meaningless. Setting a 5 a.m. alarm is just undisciplined you making another promise. Proof is the only language your brain believes. That's why the next step is immediate action. Not later. Not after motivation shows up. Ask one question: what can I do in the next 60 seconds? The action must meet four requirements. First, it must be immediate. Second, it must be completable in under 5 minutes. Third, it must be tiny, so easy you can do it even when you feel terrible. Fourth, it must be real action, not planning or thinking. 2 push-ups, 1 sentence written, 1 minute of movement. These actions feel insignificant to you, but they are powerful to your brain. Every tiny action counts as a vote for your new identity. The brain doesn't evaluate intensity. It tracks consistency. Even when no discipline is required, your brain still records the behavior. With each action, evidence begins stacking. The brain starts updating its internal model. Neural pathways associated with the new identity strengthen. Old pathways weaken through disuse. This is why tiny actions work when massive plans fail. You're no longer asking your brain to trust words. You're feeding it undeniable data. Over time, the evidence becomes impossible to ignore. The identity update begins automatically, without force, without motivation, without willpower. Step 3. Activate your brain's reward system. This is the step that makes discipline addictive, and it's the one most people skip. Without it, the rewiring process stalls. After every tiny action, pause for 5 seconds. Then say, I said I'd do it, and I did it. This isn't hype. It's neurological. Broken promises trained your brain not to trust you. Every time you quit, you reinforce that pattern. Self-acknowledgement reverses it. Each acknowledgement becomes a new trust data point. Around day 7, your brain detects consistency. Around day 30, it detects identity. Trust pathways begin rebuilding, and something powerful happens. Acknowledgement activates your brain's self-respect circuitry. This feeling is different from motivation or external rewards. It's quieter, deeper, and more satisfying. And your brain wants more of it. That's where the addiction loop forms. Action leads to acknowledgement. Acknowledgement releases self-respect. Self-respect feels good. Your brain begins craving the feeling, not the task. Now discipline isn't driven by force. It's driven by identity reinforcement. You're no longer chasing motivation. You're protecting self-respect. Over time, your brain rewires itself to seek actions that maintain this feeling. You become addicted to being someone you respect. At this point, discipline no longer feels heavy. It feels inevitable. The brain has learned that following through equals safety, trust, and internal reward. And once that loop is established, it runs automatically. Step 4. Let your brain's protection system flip. After enough proof, your brain updates your identity file. This is the moment everything flips. You move from someone who struggles with discipline to someone who does hard things. Your brain's protection system switches sides. Its job is simple. Keep your behavior aligned with your identity. Before, it protected your undisciplined identity by creating resistance to effort. That resistance felt like fatigue, excuses, and avoidance. After the rewire, the same system protects your disciplined identity. Now skipping routines feels wrong. The brain creates discomfort when behavior threatens the new identity. This isn't motivation. It's defense. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't need willpower. Skipping it just feels off. That discomfort is identity protection at work. The same mechanism now applies to discipline. Your brain begins defending follow-through automatically. Missing a workout, breaking a streak, or quitting early triggers internal friction. Not because you're forcing yourself, but because the behavior no longer matches who you are. At this stage, discipline stops feeling like discipline. It feels like being yourself. The brain craves consistency because consistency reinforces identity safety. This is the complete rewire. Behavior becomes automatic. Willpower becomes irrelevant. You don't push. You don't negotiate. You simply act in alignment with who you are now. I used to hate cardio. Every attempt felt like resistance. My brain fought it constantly. Then I started playing tennis casually. No pressure. No fitness goals. Over time, my brain updated my identity. I'm a tennis player. That single shift changed everything. Tennis players need cardio. Suddenly, running wasn't a threat. It was support. My brain stopped resisting movement and started defending it. Cardio became automatic, not because I forced it, but because it matched who I was. The identity changed first. That's the power of rewiring at the identity level. Discipline becomes automatic when identity changes. Your brain always protects who you believe you are. Rewire who you are, and everything else follows. You don't need motivation. You don't need willpower. You need alignment. The process is simple. Install a new identity. Give your brain immediate proof, acknowledge follow-through, and let the protection system flip. Start today with one tiny action. Not tomorrow. Your brain doesn't believe tomorrow. It believes proof. Do something now. Stack one piece of evidence. Begin the rewire. Once your brain switches sides, discipline stops being a struggle. It becomes your default. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more brain hacking strategies.